Hey everyone, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I appreciate y'all watching the channel as always. We're nearing 6 years on YouTube. It's because of y'all that helped make the success of this channel, so I really do appreciate the viewership and the loyalty, especially those who started me from the beginning and those who've come along the way. A lot more content to come. Got a lot of stuff in the yard. Today's something pretty cool though. We've got a snapper, old snapper tiller here that is in really good condition. I got from a guy, he oftentimes does like estate cleanouts and things like that, and I got this with a lot of items that I got from him, and it is in really good shape. Problem is right now when you pull it, it's got it'll pop when it tries to start, but it doesn't feel like it's got compression. So I think one of the valves is messed up in it, and we'll go in and see if we can get that valve moving again. If we can, it'll probably be a valve job and a diaphragm, and this thing might be ready to rock and roll again. These 5 horsepower Briggs are really easy when it comes to getting things fixed. Almost as good as the 3.5 horsepower classics, except those are these right here are a little bit harder to work on. So I'll give you a walk around of the tiller first off, and then secondly, we'll see if we can get get compression again, number one, and number two, get it to run. So thank you all again for watching. If you have any questions about this video, feel free to reach out to me, Ellis at ellismowers.com, or at ellismowers09 on Instagram and Facebook. Let's get started. Taking a look at the snapper. I don't know how old this is. This is probably 70s. Looks like it has had a little bit of a refresh here and there. As far as I can tell, all the throttle mechanisms and everything are need a little bit of lube, but they work fine otherwise. So they're just a little misadjusted, it kind of looks like. We'll lube it up. I think we'll be okay when it comes to that. 5 horsepower Briggs, or the like, maybe a 4 horse, but it's still got the same premise as here. When we look on the side of the engine, it's got a an address on that side. I don't see a date code on the engine. It looks like that's covered up by that number there. So we'll leave that to be a mystery, I suppose. Looking inside the tank, I can't remember what it looked like. Gas does smell a little old, but nothing like crazy. You look under the tank gas cap right there. It doesn't really look like it's got a lot of rust in it. Tank seems solid. Air filter appears to be in good shape as well. Let's give that a look. Yeah, just the usual frayed pre-cleaner, just because it's been sitting there a while. I'll get that pre-cleaner off and that'll probably be just fine. Belts and stuff, they're a little bit dry rotted, but that belt really right there doesn't really spin that fast. So somebody will buy this fairly, these usually run $150 to $200 in this condition. It's probably a given we got to replace the carb diaphragm and stuff like that, so we'll get that taken care of. But the big thing is we've got to get the head off, which luckily is right here on the top on these, so it's not that bad. It looks like I've got to take off the plug wire number 1, 7/16 right there, and might have to take the whole cover off here, but the rest of them are halves. You get an impact or a ratchet socket, that'll take care of it. What it's doing is, I don't know if I can show you very well. I know it's not going to just turn on, and I can hear, like, it's really easy to pull, and I can hear, I think through either the intake or the exhaust, a little bit of a hissing or a psh, psh, psh. Whenever I'm going, that usually is an indicator of a stuck valve. So let me get that head off. We'll see what we end up having. So guys, this head is super easy. All you gotta do is take off the bolts that I showed you, the 1/2 inch and the 7/16. You don't even take the spark plug out, because they would slide it right out there. So here, if I can show you, take a look at the intake valve here. So you see the exhaust valve moving up and down, but the intake valve isn't moving at all, which is what I thought. So what I'm going to do, number one, throw a bunch of lubricant in there. I'm going to try and do this without having to take all this junk off to get to the valve itself. So just throw a bunch of that in there. Then what I usually do, take a ball peen hammer. You want to make sure that the exhaust valve is open when you do this, or you're at top dead center, one of the two. And then we're just going to tap it. And what we'll do is we'll just repeat the process until the valve stops sticking. So, and it's pretty sticky because I'm pulling it. And it's doing what it's doing. Well, let me get the exhaust valve open real quick. Now what you might have to do is this for a while, depending on how stuck it is. These things probably haven't been run in many years, so we'll get the exhaust valve back open again, and then we'll just tap it down. And I'm just going to keep repeating the process. I'll take this head gasket off so that it don't mess anything up. And I'll keep repeating the process until it works. So I'll rejoin you when this valve starts working again. Alright guys, so we've got the head cleaned off and all that stuff, and just pulling it back and forth a little bit. We've got the intake valve seating properly now, so I'm just going to put this head on. And throw a little bit of spray in the intake right there and see if we can at least get it to kick over. It might run, truthfully. I don't know how long it's been since this has been run. So we shall see what we end up getting here. Hopefully we do have a runner. And be basically done with this. Head's back on. Best way to go about that is just hand tightening it. You can use a light impact, but you don't need heavy impact by any means. You just need to get it on there, get it nice and snug. There's a proper torque. I think it's like 15 foot-pounds or something like that. Or you can use the Ugga method, whatever you want to do. Took the air filter off. See if we can get this to where it will fire. It kind of almost feels like it wants to run as it is. So let me see if I can get it going without any assistance of carb spray, and if so, that'd be awesome. There's gas. I mean, it's pumping gas. There's gas in the carb right there, so I bet this thing will crank. If it doesn't crank on the first pull, it'll crank once it purges all of it out. Crazy. Alright, got ball bearing issues on this, so let me work on that. I'll show you what that is. It did try to fire over, which is really nice. I think we got to adjust the carb a little bit. But yeah, I'll show you what this does when that happens. A lot of times they'll do that when they're sitting up. And so I'm just going to take 3 7/16 off and get that off, and I'll show you what you need to do in order to get that off and fixed. So it kind of looks like this has just been replaced along with the pull rope. So let's see if I can get this to where it will go back in like it needs to. Let me just pull it around a little bit here. Alright, so we got that fixed, and what it'll do is perpetually do that if you don't do this. So I took that off, like I said, 3 7/16. We're going to take off this mechanism. So it's like a little ball bearing mechanism. You can kind of feel it's a little tight. And a lot of times what happens is, like, rust and stuff gets built up in those ball bearings, and you have to take off that little guard there, a little grass guard or whatever. You can get a little, what would it be? You can get a special tool, which I have, to get these off. But you don't have to take that off. We're going to take it off because it makes life a little bit easier on me to get these ball bearings back in. But all you have to do is on this little cup, let me get a closer look for you. You can just pop that little cup off right there, and that actually exposes the ball bearings. But what I'm going to do is I have a special tool, which I'll show you. We're going to take this whole mechanism off. You can usually sometimes get by with a screwdriver and hammer too. We'll take that off, see if we can get it to run, or excuse me, see if we can, once we get it off, we'll break this open and look at all the ball bearings and stuff inside. And here's what this tool looks like. It's just a little slotted tool. It's got a 7/8 inch on the end here. And all you got to do is slide it in its provision here and just take an impact and hold the flywheel. Give it to 3 here. Loosen it up. Ooh, don't do that. Comes right off. Just like so. So we've got a little bit of, ooh, what was that? A little bit of residue or something on this thing. We'll clean the shaft up as well, just so that it moves around on the shaft good. Take this over to the bench. I'll break this open and show you what we got. Alright, so now we're on the bench. You just gotta find something that you can tap, pry, whatever, this open, and just like so. And that breaks everything open. That exposes this. Now this is where all your magic happens in terms of the little ball bearings and things of that nature. There are 6 of them. I do know that my pan is a little dirty, but there's 6 ball bearings in here. A lot of times what these need are just simply some WD-40, because I think what they do is they get caught up kind of in this mechanism, and they just have issues. So take a rag. We're just going to kind of wipe everything first. Get all that dirt and stuff out of there. I just did this, funny, because I just did this like 2 days ago. Messed up the spring on the, or caught myself with the return spring out on the pull rope too. That was a little bit fun to get back in, but we got it back. That's good. Let me get the lube real quick. And what I do is I just spray some lubricant in here. Just kind of, I don't douse it, but we're just going to kind of get all the juices flowing again through here. This worked, like I said, the last time I did it a couple days ago. So I hope it works again. These little ball bearings are sometimes tricky to get back in. But just put them in their rightful place, and You just kind of slide this back on. Hopefully you can get everything back in the slot like it's supposed to be. That's the hardest part, getting these, all 6 of these ball bearings in the spot where they need to be. In order to pop this back on. So let's see what we got here. Got one, let's see, it needs to go there, there. What I'm doing is I'm going to inspect every little hole here to make sure there's a ball bearing in every hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're good. And what we're going to do, well, I thought we were good. We're not anymore. It's pretty difficult, actually. But the premise is you get all 6 ball bearings in each slot. Pop this little cover back on. And you are good to go after that. So let me do that. And I will be right back. Well, let me see if I can get it right here this time. I will work on this off cam, get it all back together, and we will put it back on the engine. Alright guys, so in theory that should have fixed it. Let's see if it did. Like I said, a lot of times it's those ball bearings, they get kind of caught up, and that'll happen to them. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Ooh, come on. Running rich. Can't get it leaned out good enough. I am going to blow out the garage real quick. Oops. Get a fan out there and blow it all out. Wonder if I got a jet issue or something. Like it won't let me screw it in any further than that, which is kind of weird. First off, let me see if I can. I probably can. I think somebody has painted these things though. So Yeah, I think. I think if I scrape off this paint on this bolt here, we might be able to get it in again. As you can see right here, that paint. I wonder if I could scrape that off and be able to screw it in a little bit further. I'm going to work on that and see and get my garage de-smoked. I'll be right back. Well, I've tried doing the adjustment screw here and there hasn't been any change. Sometimes what happens is the diaphragms will get bad and to the point where they'll let too much fuel through. And I think that might be happening here. So let me replace the diaphragm. I've done this in a previous video very recently, so I'm not going to worry about showing y'all. We do have a little bit of gas leaking too, so I don't know if it's coming from the tank or coming from up here somewhere. Truthfully, I might just go ahead and just put a new carb on this one as well, since I've already got to have it basically off. With the gasket, it'll stop the leaks, make this thing more reliable. So I'll go ahead and do that. I will have to rig up a choke cable of some sort in order to do that as well. The air filter setup is going to be a little bit different also, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll see. May try the diaphragm first. I forgot this is that old style Briggs, and see if that helps anything here. If not, then yeah, we might have to try a new carb. We'll see. Well, we get kind of lucky. 2 7/16 bolts. Luckily, they're free. Took the exhaust right off. 4 screws right here below my feet. Took off this. And look at what we have. I don't know if the lights will pick it up very well. We have a tear in the diaphragm. The diaphragm was hard enough to still pump gas. But the little tear, remember what I said earlier in the video that there was a bunch of gas in the intake here in the carburetor? That would be why, because what it was doing is it was pumping gas through the diaphragm into the intake and flooding out everything. So we got a little bit of a situation here. I have broken this screw right here, was somewhat fragile for some reason, and broke the tip off and then cross-threaded itself and all that stuff. So kind of a little bit up a creek on the jet adjustment. But what I can do is take that 13 millimeter nut or half-inch bolt off nut, put it in the vice grips and adjust it. Once I get it adjusted right, it shouldn't really need adjusting much after that. So I've got another diaphragm. We'll put that on. I'm just going to leave the spring and everything in here, pop the diaphragm on this after I clean it off a little bit. Just throw it back on there so that I don't have to deal with the spring situation there. And I'll tell you what, we probably should replace everything. So I'm going to replace everything, and I'll be right back with y'all in just a second. We have good access this time as opposed to a couple of other instances that I've worked, which I just did on a chipper, wood chipper that y'all saw on the channel. So do the same thing here, put the exhaust back on, test it out. So the new diaphragm is in. Let me see if I can get it started, and if so, I'm probably going to have to adjust the screw that I broke off, or I might get lucky and find one off of another engine that I have. Let's see. Choke on. It'll take a few pulls to pump the gas back up. possible that since it was coming through that diaphragm, that I have the jet closed all the way now, and it won't come through too. So let me look at both situations here. Might just pop off like this, we'll see. Yeah, it's really possible that I've screwed the jet up. So let me adjust the jet and see if I can get it back open again, number one, because I think I have it fully closed right now because I was having all these issues. Just trial and error, trying to figure it out. And I'll see if I can get that jet back open and for it to start for us. All right, I pulled the jet out some. Let's see what we have now. Hopefully it'll start. Got it right on the money, I think. I don't know if there's any kill switch on this, honestly. Let's see. Do we have one? We have something. Let's see. There's a kill switch to something in there. Doesn't work though. I don't think. Is that going to be a deal breaker if you got to choke it out and turn it off though, you know? So that's it. Basically, I'm going to change the oil in it, check the fluid and the fluid level and the gears and whatnot, and give y'all a final demonstration. I'll show you the tines and stuff work here real quick too. I do need to cut a little bit of that pull rope off. This starts right up like that now. Can't really beat an old tiller like that. We'll do a final everything here in just a second. Well, we got everything changed out. I topped off the transmission gear drive with some oil just to help that, because I see that it has done some seepage over time. And the new diaphragm, we fixed the valves. This thing's ready to rock and roll. Go to a new home. Unfortunately, it's November when I'm filming this, so there are no tillers going at this time. It's just a nice easy project for me to get in and out and just be ready to go when the spring comes. Honestly, I think we're going to be good. These tillers for me usually run around, I usually list them for about 200 and they usually sell for about 160 to 180. So considering that I have $100 in the entire lot of items that I bought this in, and I think I've already sold one of the mowers or something, I can't remember at this point. I have a pressure washer back there that came with this lot too. So that'll fetch just as much. We're going to do just fine on this lot. So there it is. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope y'all learned some things. I thought that adjusting the carb screw was going to fix the choking issue. I'm lucky that we got the valve freed up. That's just from it sitting over the course of time and those valves getting sticky. Surprised that it actually ran the way that it did. Cleaned off the air filter, put the carb diaphragm in, and I'm good to go. Excited for that. So it's going to make a good tiller for somebody. I love fixing these old snapper tillers. I've got another 70s model tiller back way in the back of the lean-to that I would love to get to at some point in the near future, because that guy was going to take it to the dump. It's a big one too, and probably just need a diaphragm or something small just like these. These things will run forever, as most of y'all small engine folks know. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Ellis at ellismowers.com, or at ellismowers09 on Instagram and Facebook. Again, you see the lighting upgrades I've done in the garage. I'm going to do a full in-depth garage overhaul at the end of 2022 video series between Christmas and New Year's. I hope y'all enjoy that and tune in for that as well. But in the meantime, we fixed another machine here on the channel. This one was fairly easy, so I'll take it. And I thank you all for watching, as always. Almost 6 years here on YouTube, with many more to come. I'll catch y'all on the next video. See you then. And as an added bonus, the kill switch started working again too. Just had a little grease on it. Guys, take care. I'll see you on the next one.